Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to another day. So I just thought that I'll talk about some briefly. I'll make it short because today. Um, I'll read in first of all from Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. Okay, and then I'm gonna skip stuff because I'm not gonna make all that. Genesis chapter 1:11 says, "Then God said," and God there being plural, so more than one God. Most High God and someone else, which we now know that is mother. It says, let the land produce vegetation. I want you guys to follow me carefully so that you understand what we're doing to it is. It says, let the land produce vegetation, seed bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds. Then it says, and it was so. The land produced vegetation, I'm reading from the NIV. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that was good. And there was evening, and this morning I was looking. Um, what I want you guys to take away from what I just read is this: do not forget the priest, the state purpose. It says, God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kind. That's what's important there. According to their various kinds. So the land produces mango trees, apple trees, name it, banana, just name it, whatever kind of tree, the land produces that. The land brought forth, okay, trees, it sojourn and all of that, and they got perhaps for their own part. Well, let's get from there. I just want to follow me, okay? And God said, this is verse 20, and God said, let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea, waiting for the NIV. So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every weaving and moving thing that reached the water things, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, fruitful and increase in number, fill the watering the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth. And there was evening and there was morning in the place. So we skipped already for people. How I'm going to point this out first before proceed or what it is I'm going to say. You'd notice that when God created the animals, this is talk about, He commanded, spoke the word, because by all his word, it is total word, and from the land, every living land animal thing for, not only lions, rhinos, hippopotamus, name it, all that comes down the land, it all came into the land. All okay. These were all okay. Then God spoke also to the seas. And the seas brought forth the dolphins, the whales, the sharks. These are all creatures of the seas. They all came. Okay? Keep that in mind. And this is why chapter 2 is alive. Let's just go. I'll read from verse 26. It says, then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them, take note of the word them, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the lands of the air, livestock over all the earth, okay? And over all the creatures that move along the ground. Then, verse 27 says, so God created man in his own image. What image is God in? God is not an individual. God is a male and female. God is the father and the mother. The God created man in the image of a father and a mother, okay? In the image of God, he created them. In James to say created either. Male and female he created them, okay? And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea, and blah blah blah. All the rest there, all nonsense. That's what this says. So what I'm trying to say with this, see, which church is blind to, and the world is blind. Okay, we've been told that Genesis chapter 2, chapter 3, that quote unquote God made Adam and Eve. That is a lie. That's true. I'll tell you. Whether you believe it or not, you don't care. I was gonna say you don't bloody care. I'll say that. I'll say. You see? Well, anyway, what I'm gonna say is that you don't care. Whether you believe, you don't believe, doesn't matter. That's true. See, and for those who've watched the previous videos from the past 2 years, you'd know by now that we're saying that Adam and Eve were not the first man on earth. Which he gave reason for that and that, but that's not why I'm making this video. What I want to say is this: see, when God created man, okay, male and female, he didn't just create them, quote unquote, as in Adam and Eve. No, that's not true. God created man. Right. The same way the animals were created, God, the sea, that it's not only the shark that you see swimming in the ocean, okay? And it's not only the blue whale, okay, and the humpback whale, okay, or the orca, or the dolphin that you see in the sea. That's the same way God created man. That's number one. Number two says, the same way that they made animals from the land, okay, that it's not only the lion. You find the jaguar or the leopard, okay? Or you find so many other animals anyway. I don't want to go on this if I'm going to digress. It's not the same way that they are told in Genesis chapter 2 that man was made. These things were written, okay, for us to understand. So, okay, before I go to where I'm going, so let's look at it. See, imagine that it was just Adam and Eve, and then they were inbreeding, okay, and from inbreeding at that time, and then right now we are in 2026. Don't you think that the world would be full of stupid people today? Ask yourself that question. That question is not for me. It's a rhetorical question. It's believers. Don't you think the world would be full of stupid people if they were just inbreeding from Adam and Eve? I think the generations would have ended a long time ago. That's the truth. Why? Because the DNA and then all of that would have been matching, would have just been the same, passing down. Number one. But number two, where I'm going to with all of this is this. When man was created, it wasn't just Adam and Eve. Man was created. When you see the black man, like myself, as we're being called today, normally I'll think I'm brown anyway, because I'm not black as in black, like this. Yes, yeah. But what I'm saying is that the black man was created, but the Asian was created. And when I say Asian, I'm talking about the Chinese or all of that. No, I'm speaking about languages now. I'm talking about color, okay, or race, okay. Black man was created, Asian was created, European was created. All of these different races were created, and it's got nothing to do with language. And that's why when Cain killed Abel, Cain told Yahweh, oh, I hope no one's going to kill me when I go out. And Yahweh says, I'm going to put a mark on you so that when you go out, no one's going to kill you. Who did Cain get married to? But the church is blind. The church does not think. That's the problem. So I just thought I'd make this short video just to put this out there, because these are things that I try not to talk about. That's number one. But then, well, there comes a time you have to say everything that's on your mind anyway. But what I'm trying to say is this: see, man was created, and man was created male and female, but it was not Adam and Eve. No, it was not. That's truth. If the preachers want to come and argue with us, let them come and tell us who pained Mary when he left and after he killed Abel before Adam and Eve gave birth to Seth. Let them come and tell us that. They can't. That's true. They cannot. They cannot. Whether it's the apologetics or they cannot tell us that. Instead, they'll tell you, oh, yeah, Adam and Eve gave birth to some daughters who are not recorded, and these are the people that can go my absolute nonsense. What I'm just trying to say is this. I want you guys who, for those of us who are fortunate, okay, to listen to the things we say, because I'm fully fortunate. Why? Because not so many are privileged. For those of us who are fortunate, I want you to go sit down and think and study the books better, okay? And then come back and give us questions, and then we can answer you, because the fact is that there was a pattern from the beginning. When animals were made, the earth brought forth different kind of animals that could live on earth, okay? And the sea brought forth different kind. When they said, let us make man, they brought forth after their kinds, after themselves, okay? That's what they brought forth, okay? But then they didn't just make Adam and Eve like Yahweh tells it in chapter 2 and chapter 3. That's a lie. That's true. That's a lie. That's why the book of Hebrews tells us that we should study righteousness, okay, the doctrine of righteousness, so we can discern between good and evil, because Yahweh lies, and it lies in the Bible, it lies in the books. Anyway, I just thought I'll keep this out there. You guys go study on your own, okay? Study on your own, and when you're done studying, let's talk about it, so we can hear. Because the truth is that life did not start with Adam and Eve. They made man. And it wasn't just Adam and Eve, quote unquote. It wasn't just that. And that's why Cain could find people that he was going to get married to from their daughters. That's truth of why. Because they made, same way they made the lion, cat, the dog, the jaguar, the mountain lion, and all of that breeds here on, on the land. That's the same way they made man. But the core essence of man is spirit, which is from there. That's why they said, let us make man. After our image, they're going to stand like us, male and female. And then later, we're going to make them in our likeness. We're going to become gods like us. That's in price. So anyway, I just thought I'll put that out there. And you guys, God bless you. Have a wonderful day.